Back in Pittsburgh, ready to start the game. Who's in, who's out tonight? For more on that, to the field we go, and Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, Al, offensive line issues for both teams. Patriots guard Stephen Neal out. Dan Connolly starts in his place. Pittsburgh unveils its fourth different starting offensive line combination tonight, including a new left side. Tackle Max Starks out for the season with a neck. Guard Chris Kimiatu out tonight with a knee. In their place, Jonathan Scott and Ramon Foster making his first start of the season. Now, Ben Roethlisberger called having two new guys on his blind side a big deal. But offensive coordinator Bruce Arians said, whoever they have in there, it changes nothing that we do. And Al, linebacker James Harrison showed up on the injury report yesterday with back spasms. Mike Tomlin told me he's fine, no limitations.
All right, thank you, Andrea. Tonight's matchup, of course, two teams not in the same division, but they might as well be with this rivalry. Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. 3 rings for Tom, 01, 03, 04, and then Roethlisberger following the 05 and 08 seasons. This is the first time in a quarter century since 1985 you've had a game featuring quarterbacks with multiple Super Bowl rings. Plunkett against Montana back in 85. Shane Graham, and he's a story. Steven Gostowski is on injured reserve, their kicker. So Graham, the one-time Bengal who kicked in one game for the Giants this year, he'll be their place kicker, they hope, for the rest of the year. They signed him this week. Gostowski was a good kickoff man. Now, what about Graham? Pretty good beginning. To the goal line it goes. Emmanuel Sanders, a rookie out of SMU, brings it back to the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at the Steelers offense.
Ben Roethlisberger, Miami University.
Rashard Mendenhall, Illinois.
Heinz Ward, Georgia.
Mike Wallace, Old Perry Walker High School.
Heath Miller, Virginia.
Matt Spaeth, Minnesota.
Jonathan Scott, Texas.
Ramon Foster, Tennessee.
Marquise Pouncey, Florida.
Trey Essex, Northwestern.
Flozo Adams, Michigan State.
Adams, the longtime Cowboy. Patriots won the toss tonight, elected to defer, so they put their defense out on the field first with those 4 rookies in the starting lineup. Rashard Mendenhall is the running back, and they start on the ground over right guard. A gain of just 2. Ron Brace making the stop. So Ben Roethlisberger out of Miami of Ohio, picked in the first round in 04, wins the Super Bowl after his 2nd season, wins the Super Bowl after his 5th season, and right now, as you saw his numbers, 3-1 on the win-loss ledger in the last 4 games, and again matched up with Tom Brady warming up on the Patriots sideline. 2nd down, 7 from just outside the 28-yard line. 5 receivers. Roethlisberger out of the gun and has that knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and that was Gary Guyton, number 59, the inside linebacker, to swat it down. 3rd and 7.
Well, you would expect they're going to test the left side, but here they're going to come with a blitz over here on the right side of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, where their offensive line is intact. Guyton gets his hands up, and that's a good start, because now the Patriots get a chance to get into some of their gimmick defenses after stopping the run, which was a major issue for them last week against the Cleveland Browns.
3rd and 7. Mewelde Moore is their 3rd down back. He's in the backfield flanking Roethlisberger. He had a concussion last week, but passed all of the tests. And in the game here tonight, play clock all the way down to 0 as Ben throws over the middle, and that one gets swatted down by Kyle Arrington. So a very good opening defensive series for the Patriots after deferring, and Pittsburgh to punt.
Well, this time they are going to test that left side. They're all going to come from this way over here, and a pretty nice job in the back end by Kyle Arrington covering up Mike Wallace one-on-one. That's not bad for a guy you pick up off the waiver wire. He's been pretty good.
Daniel Sepulveda, the left-footed kicker, sending it Julian Edelman's way. He calls for a fair catch at the 31-yard line, and that's where Brady will go to work for the first time tonight as we take a look at the New England starters.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Danny Woodhead, Chadron State College.
Wes Welker, Texas Tech.
Brandon Tate, North Carolina.
Deion Branch, Louisville.
Algie Crumpler, North Carolina.
Matt Light, Purdue University.
Logan Mankins, Fresno State.
Dan Copen, Boston College.
Dan Connolly, Southeast Missouri.
Sebastian Ballmer, University of Houston.
For Mankins, the outstanding left guard, contract dispute had him out until last week, so he makes his second start of the season. Then Jarvis Green Ellis gets the start at running back. And they begin with a pass that is caught by Rob Gronkowski, a rookie out of Arizona. So for Tom Brady, 11th year in the league, and you all know the story. Picked well down in the draft in 2000, took over when Drew Bledsoe got hurt in 01, led him to the Super Bowl, had that knee injury on opening day 2 years ago. Good year last year, but it ended with a New England loss to Baltimore in the playoffs, and now he's guided the team to a 6-2 mark thus far. Harrison is there. Andrea talked about the back spasms. Woodhead is now in the backfield with Brady. 2nd and 4, and they send Woodhead out. And Brady, good pocket, throws, and it's caught, and that'll be a first down. Algie Crumpler making the catch. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh defense.
Ziggy Hood, Missouri.
Casey Hampton, Texas.
Nick Eason, Clemson University.
Lamar Woodley, University of Michigan.
James Ferrier, Virginia. Lawrence Timmons, Florida State.
James Harrison, Kent State.
Brian McFadden, Florida State.
Troy Polamalu, University of Southern California.
Ryan Clark, LSU.
IT Swagger University.
That Pittsburgh defense mentioned at the top, fewest points allowed in the league. And Brady has time again and is able to check it down and picks up another first down. Gronkowski makes another catch. So he's been going to his tight ends on the opening drive. First down, New England.
If you're going to beat Pittsburgh, you have to be able to do it on the outside here against these outside linebackers. And for Matt Light, he's just an old war horse out there. And, of course, we'll keep an eye on Harrison and see how that back holds up. But Brady looking one way, comes back to the backside. And for Gronkowski, a better start this week than last week.
Yeah, especially on the kickoff where he called for a fair catch and then didn't catch the ball, and that resulted in a turnover and more Cleveland points. And this has been Jarvis Green Ellis inside the 35 and takes a couple of guys for a ride down to the 30-yard line. Logan Mankins helping to lead the way, and that's an 18-yard run, and that's the longest run of the season against the Pittsburgh defense.
One of the surprises has been this guy right here, Algie Crumpler, as a blocker. You'll remember him back in the days with Atlanta and catching all those balls. Well, now he's sort of become the go-to blocker on this team. And now I think that might have been the longest run against this Steelers defense all year.
Just mentioned it had been 14 yards, and that goes for 18. And the ball is at the 30-yard line, first down. Again, 5 receivers. And the pass is caught. And this time it's Wes Welker taking it to the 20-yard line. One thing about Bill Belichick through the years, when he faces Pittsburgh, he is pass crazy. Take a look at this. In the regular season, 73% of the time against Pittsburgh, he throws the ball. 55-45 against all other teams. And Brady in those games, a 3-figure pass rating in 4 regular season games against the Steelers. Already 4 first downs on this drive. Green Ellis this time gets stopped in his tracks after crossing the 20-yard line. James Farrier makes the tackle.
Well, the one thing that Belichick always does is he comes out and he's going to check you out defensively, how you're going to play. And I was wondering, would he play this thing with a lot of wide receivers spread around? But really, he has played the entire drive thus far with 2 tight ends in the game, which gives him some options as far as blocking those outside linebackers. And yet they've still been able to get out on the pass routes and make some plays.
They go with 3 tight ends here, so all kinds of disparate formations here. 5 wide, 3 tight ends on the first drive, doing a great job mixing it up. And over the middle again, and that pass this time is dropped. It's incomplete. He had Green Ellis over the middle, and it will be 3rd down and 9.
Well, for Pittsburgh, there's a few different looks in there as well. Of course, if you've been following the Steelers, you know that Aaron Smith and Brett Kiesel, 2 of their outstanding defensive players over the years, out Nick Eason, Ziggy Hood in there now. So maybe a little better opportunity to run it than in the past against Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh has not allowed a first quarter touchdown all season. Not only opening drive, the entire first quarter. 3rd down and 9. Play clock at 1. And the pass is caught on the run. Touchdown, Rob Gronkowski. 19 yards, and what an opening drive for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady on the drive, 5 out of 6 for 52 yards and this touchdown.
It looks like a blitz over here, but they back out. Just a 3-man rush and a tight end working against the nickel back on the outside, William Gay. And Gronkowski is making amends for what was a very poor game a week ago, making big plays on that drive.
And coming home to do it, spent his senior year in high school here in Pittsburgh at Woodland Hills High School, and the extra point by the newly signed Shane Graham is good. Opening drive for New England, next to perfect. 7-0. Pittsburgh, PA on this mid-November Sunday night. Gronkowski, last week, a week to forget for him, and tonight, well, a touchdown in the town in which he attended high school his senior year. 3 catches on that drive, and it's 7-0 as Emmanuel Sanders takes this kick back, skirts the sideline. Good run back as he gets it out to the 37-yard line. Roethlisberger and company back out, down by 7. 2 really great nose tackles tonight. You've got Casey Hampton for Pittsburgh, and on the other side there is Vince Wilfork. 7 seasons. There's Casey. 2 fraternity brothers, the fraternity of nose tackles. Wilfork said one day we're all going to get together and go find the biggest buffet we can chow down at. Here's Mendenhall taking it out to the 39-yard line.
I tell you, it's kind of interesting. Typically, Wilfork plays right over the center. Here you can see he's a little bit in this gap right there. And they were talking defensively after the way they got gouged a week ago by the Cleveland Browns. They might do a few things with Wilfork tonight to try and help those linebackers get covered up and allow them to run a little bit more. Seemed like the Browns were able to get up on Jared Mayo in particular a week ago. There he is again.
Yeah, Peyton Hillis had a phenomenal day, and they rushed for over 200 yards total. And that is Gerard Mayo, who's really become the star of this defense in his 3rd year out of Tennessee, #1 draft choice in 08, in the backfield for the tackle.
Well, you see what happens here. You go there to make the block, and then you come off the backside, and that's what they were talking about. Typically, it's Brandon Spikes who ends up doing more blitzing. He did a lot of it last week against Cleveland. Already, we're seeing a different look this week with Mayo now coming off the offset nose.
3rd and 10. This is the second drive for the Steelers. They were 3 and out in the first. Moore, per usual, in the game on 3rd down. And he stays in the block, and Roethlisberger has time and finds his man, Heath Miller, the tight end, for Pittsburgh's initial first down of the game, and across the 50 to the 47 of New England.
Well, they had 3 wide receivers going the other way, and the coverage just leaned that way, and there was nobody left backside for Heath Miller, who is really the go-to guy out here. So many times when you look at the statistics and the numbers, when they throw to Heath Miller, almost off the chart. He always seems to make a play.
1st and 10. Catching a few less balls this year, perhaps, because they're keeping him in to block more with the shuffling that's going on up front. And that pass is out too far with a flag thrown. Heinz Ward, the intended receiver. Carl Cheffers is the referee, and this first time we'll have Carl check in tonight.
Holding, number 79, offense, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's the right guard, Trey Essex.
Kind of one of the last healthy bodies out here, along with Marquise Pouncey. There we go, right here. Let's take a look. Working against Mike Wright, I believe, and just sort of slung him to the ground once they grabbed the back of the shoulder pads.
Halfway through the quarter now, 1st down and 20 from the 42-yard line. Ben protected well in the pass, a little high and a little behind Wallace. Let's take a look at the New England defensive starters.
Ron Brace, Boston College.
Vince Wilfork, University of Miami.
Brandon Dedrick, Crimson Tide.
Jermaine Cunningham, the U, University of Florida.
Gerard Mayo, Tennessee.
Brandon Spikes, Florida. Bob Nikovich, Purdue University.
Devin McCourty, Rutgers.
Brandon Merriweather, proud father of Morgan Merriweather.
Patrick Chung, Oregon.
Kyle Arrington, Hofstra.
Matt Patricia there, listed as the linebackers coach. Calls in the defenses, calls him into Gerard Mayo, who's in there in almost every situation. Second down and 20, and Roethlisberger will go to the ground. And that's Gary Guyton, who earlier swatted down a pass, getting Roethlisberger down. And normally Ben's about as easy to get to the ground as an apartment building.
Here's Mayo going to come from right here, and he's really, or Gary Guyton's going to come from right there, and he's just in a read blitz situation. He had the back, he had Mendenhall, but then he saw Mendenhall block, and he said, okay, fine, I'll just go get me a sack. He's really in coverage, but the minute Mendenhall just sat there and looked like he was going to block, there was no reason to cover him.
3rd and 30 now. They have to get to the 38-yard line of the Patriots. And Roethlisberger has time. Going to his left, and he is in the grasp. Sheffers comes in and signals a sack at that point. Sean Crable and Mike Wright had him in a vice. And what a defensive series for the Patriots. Again,
well, one of the things that the Patriots were talking about was when you get a shot at Ben, you have to hit him and wrap him up. A lot of defenses make the mistake because he sticks that ball out there trying to go after the ball and he makes you miss. They didn't want to do that. They just wanted to hit him.
So on 4th and 37, Sepulveda's kick is fielded at the 26. There's a flag down. Edelman will bring it back out to the 38-yard line. And somebody got downfield too quickly. Checking with Belichick to see what he wants to do.
Number 55 of the kicking team was ineligible downfield on the punt. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the return. Timeout.
Stevenson Sylvester sets New England up near midfield. Pats on top by a touchdown. When it comes to rebounds, there are very few coaches like Belichick. Since 2003, New England 22-2 in games following a loss. And last week, they were beaten, not quite humiliated, but beaten up pretty good by the Cleveland Browns. There was no question that the Browns were the better team last Sunday. From the 42, Brady juggles the shotgun snap and is still able to get it away, and it's Deion Branch, the once and current Patriot, who comes back to the team after they get rid of Randy Moss, and now they're going to try to go quickly, thinking about the possibility that Pittsburgh would challenge the call. So Brady got him up to the line. Take a look at this. Tomlin has gotten the word from upstairs not to challenge, and New England runs the play with Danny Woodhead taking the ball to the 44-yard line. And a flag on the other side of the field at the 36-yard line. So totally away from the play for the penalty here.
Julian Edelman and Ike Taylor scrapping back there. Don't know if that's where the foul was.
There's no foul for illegal substitution. The player in question was in the prior play. Second down.
Troy Polamalu, and I'm sure we will hear from him before the night is done, before too long, in fact. It's amazing. Already 8 years in the league. You know, you think of him as still a young guy. Pittsburgh with that very veteran defense. Brandon Tate is the guy in motion. 2nd and 5. Brady, play action, buys time. Wide open again. Deion Branch to the 26-yard line, and then the ball comes loose at the end of the play. And the question is, was it down at the 25-yard line. And again, now New England's getting up to the line of scrimmage to make sure that there's no challenge here. Here's Branch going down, and the ball pops out after he's down. Clearly. 26-yard line again. Rushing to the line, the Patriots on 1st and 10 with under 5 minutes to play in the quarter. 2 fakes, and then a screen is set up, but Pittsburgh reads that very nicely, and Green Ellis is tackled after he makes the catch. Woodley was there.
Pretty good stuff on the outside by Lamar Woodley right here. He's out there really getting blocked on the play. It looked like he was going to be out of it, managed to shed one, shed another, then go underneath and make that one. So these outside linebackers, they're going to be a force on every play.
A lot of razzle-dazzle, but at the end of the night, it's a 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9. And Brady throws, and that pass for Branch is incomplete. 3rd and 9. Deion Branch was with New England, wanted more money, wound up signing with Seattle, then they brought him back. Remember a few years ago when Brady had a whole bunch of receivers and there was really no number 1 guy in the middle of the decade. We said to him one night, hey, who's the best? Who's your best guy? And he said Deion Branch. And a year later he was in Seattle.
Yeah.
But now he's back, and it's 3rd down and 9. Steelers come. Brady gets it away. Welcome makes the catch and picks up a 1st down. William Gay finally forcing him out of bounds, but they convert on 3rd and 9.
Well, anytime you have a 5'7" back in the backfield, it's always a little bit risky, but watch the blitz pick up here. This guy's a pretty amazing guy. Danny Woodhead, a very fast player, but just like 5'7", and you look at him and you go, there's no way he could block one of these Steelers linebackers, and yet he's been doing it all year.
1st and 10. Green Ellis. You look at that New England running game, Chris, and Maroney was their leading ball carrier last year. They traded him to Denver week 2. Kevin Falk was on injured reserve after the 2nd week of the season. And then you had, as Dick LeBeau and his run defense right now, which has been very, very proficient, has watched New England march down the field. Fred Taylor's been on the team, of course, since last year, and then this season hurt his toe, hasn't played in a long time. So Woodhead and Green Ellis have done the heavy lifting. 2nd down and 8. Brady to his left. Throws, and again he goes to the tight end, Gronkowski, with a flag down. Gronkowski, for the moment, comes close to picking up the 1st down. But
personal foul, chop block, number 42, offense, 15-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
It's the running back, Green Ellis.
You know, this is a hustle play. Matt Light was trying to block down. Last second, he tries to come back and make a block. But BenJarvus Green Ellis doesn't know that, and so he's going to cut this linebacker. That's what he does. But once Matt Light puts his hands on him, you can no longer cut that backer, and that's the reason for the penalty.
2nd and 23. Hand the ball off to Woodhead, who started the season with the Jets. He takes it to the 23-yard line, and Lamar Woodley is there for the tackle. 3rd down and 19 now.
Yeah, it's always a guessing game, and these two so good at it. Tom Brady and Dick LeBeau going at it. Anytime you get backed up, 2nd down and 20, you're expecting a blitz out of Dick LeBeau. Just didn't get it that time. But watch inside. Wes Welker and Troy Polamalu. Those two guys, Welker's one of the best blockers, and Polamalu's one of the best, period.
Third and a mile, and Brady's Slipping away and throws, and on the move, Woodhead will take it down to the 12 to make it a lot easier for Graham to try to kick this field goal. So the new unit coming in right here, you've got a new place kicker. You have a new snapper, Matt Petula. You've got a rookie holder in Zoltan Mesko, even though Petula and Graham have played together before. But there it is. It's the first game the three of them have played together here. Clearly Graham signed this week. Obviously he's new, and we'll see about a 31-yard field goal in one of the toughest places to kick field goals in the National Football League. But right now only a light breeze, and Graham's kick is good. 1:03 remaining in the opening quarter. New England off to a hot start. 10-0. Cruising down the Allegheny.
Good guess.
No, I recognize that bridge.
Okay,
that's the bridge that goes from downtown over to where the stadiums are. Monaca Hill on the other side at the confluence of the Ohio. 5-yard line. Emmanuel Sanders upended at the 31-yard line by Devin McCourty. Ben and the boys down by 10, late first. Mike Tomlin often has a great description of things. The other day he said, you know what, we're an emotional bunch. The Patriots are a cerebral bunch. They'll wait for us to implode. They're flatliners. So we thought we'd give you a little EKG matchup as you look at the two guys.
I don't know. So far the Steelers have been the flatliners out there. They don't have anything to show for anything on offense so far.
All New England in the first quarter. Mwelde Moore is going to start this series on first down as the running back from the 31-yard line. And they give the ball to Moore. A couple of yards over the right side. Gary Guyton is there to make the tackle.
It was interesting talking to Ben Roethlisberger before this game. He said, I put on the tape of the Patriots, and we're so used to playing against all those great players on the defense over there. And he said, my first thought was, who are these guys? He recognized a couple of them, but not very many.
Changing the tempo. Roethlisberger goes without a huddle here on 2nd down and 7.
165. 165.
Maybe no huddle, but that hardly changes the tempo. Play clock already down to 5. 2nd and 7, and over the middle. Catch is made by Heinz Ward. Makes his first grab of the night. A little slow to get up as the potential future Hall of Famer as the clock expires, and that is the end of the first quarter. All Patriots 10-0. New England end of 1. And Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Andrea Kramer back in Pittsburgh, and that's a sight no Steeler fan wants to see. Ward on the bench because of this hit from Sanders coming in helmet to helmet.
Yeah, and then the question becomes, was he still defenseless, or had he caught it and turned up the field? I don't think that he had quite turned and become a runner yet, but he was wobbly coming off the field. We saw him take 3 or 4 missteps trying to walk to the bench, and he had help.
He needed assistance. There it is, all the way to the bench. Wobble there. And a couple of more as well on the way to the sidelines. So we'll get a report as soon as we can, obviously, about a man who is as important to this offense as anybody. And New England, meanwhile, will now challenge the play at the end of the quarter as to whether Ward even caught the ball to make it what would be a 3rd down and 2. So they're looking at this now. Is Carl Cheffers under the hood? You watch the hit. Now the ball's going to come loose. And did he make the catch? Did he have possession before he goes to the ground?
Was he going to the ground in the process of making the catch? If that were the case, he would have to maintain possession all the way through. There's definitely a little movement there. I would say the ball is out if they considered that going to the ground in the process of the catch. That's probably the decision that has to be made, and the only one, really.
Check out Ward shaking his leg on the sideline.
Tell you what, the Patriots came out smoking tonight, didn't they? One more. I would say that he was going to the ground in the process of making that catch, and then it looked like the ball did hit the ground. I would say probably incomplete. What do you think?
The ball is coming out as he's going to the ground. If I had a guess here, I would say they're going to say this is not a catch.
Well, I tell you, it's always dangerous anytime a Bill Belichick coach team plays the way they did a week ago in Cleveland. That one was not good from any category. Offensively, defensively, they got physically handled in that one. And they have come out ready to play here tonight. The knee's down, but if he's going to the ground in the process of the catch, it wouldn't matter that the knee was down. You would have to maintain control all the way throughout that catch.
Close enough that Jeffers is taking about as long a look as is legal right now. It's either going to be 3rd and 2 if it's a completed pass, or 3rd and 7, so it's a 5-yard differential. Dr. Joseph Maroon is the Steeler neurologist. That is Dr. Maroon, who's checking out Ward.
One of the very best and foremost authorities, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he's doing the surgery on Max Starks here as well.
Here comes Jeffers. Finally. It's a long review.
After review, during the process of the catch, the receiver did lose possession of the ball. The ball hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down and 7 on the 34-yard line with 10 seconds left in the first quarter. New England will not be charged with a timeout.
Insult to injury. So we go back in time, but Pittsburgh's going to let the clock run out, and they'll start the second quarter with a 3rd down and 7. Or we're going to come back, and let's see if they want to run a play here from their own 34-yard line. Well, 3rd and 7, and actually with an incomplete pass, that's going to stop the clock. So he puts the 10 seconds back on the clock, and they will have to run a play here.
Well, for Ben Roethlisberger, the protection has been okay on the left side where the substitutions have been. Really, the guy that's been struggling so far tonight has been Trey Essex.
Antoine Randall L., number 82, who's back with the Steelers after 4 seasons in Washington, comes in Ward's spot as Roethlisberger retrieves and then throws, and coming across the formation and getting whacked at the 41 close to a first down is Mike Wallace. Patrick Chung makes the tackle. That will end the first quarter with the score 10-0 New England. What a shot. That Patriot defense, and we talked about them at the beginning of the telecast, and they played a very good first quarter. Defenders to start all 9 games, just those 3. The veterans Wilfork and Mayo, and then the rookie McCourty, and tied with the Falcons for the fewest starters in every game this season. 25.5, Belichick's youngest defense in his 16 seasons as a head coach. That would be 5 in Cleveland in the early 90s, and now since 2000 in New England. Quick update on Heinz Ward. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, Al, after team neurologist Dr. Joseph Maroon examined Heinz Ward, there was a lot of discussion amongst the other doctors and the trainer. The Steelers are calling it a neck injury. His return is questionable, and they will continue to evaluate him.
41-yard line. All right, thank you, Andrea. If it was deemed a concussion, he'd have to sit out. First and 10, the ball is at the 41. They ended the first quarter with a measurement as we went to commercial, and they just did pick up the first down. And now Moore will take the ball up to the 44-yard line. That's a gain of 3.
One of the things that the Steelers were a little concerned about was the fact that they thought that New England might pick up on the fact that they were running right a lot. They really have been running behind Flozell Adams and Trey Essex, and we've begun to see New England's defense now overshift that way just a bit to try and take away that run.
Second down and 7. That is 5 receiver set. Pressure put on by New England, so the pass has gotten away quickly. And Weldy Moore makes the catch, but he'll be less than a yard shy of a first down. 3rd and 1.
Gerard Mayo coming on the blitz that time, and he may have gotten away with one. This was pretty close to a late hit. That ball's out, and he still delivered a pretty good blow. So I'll tell you, the Patriots tonight have come out hitting. This has been a very physical game so far. They've taken it to the Steelers so far.
And on 3rd and 1, busting his way through the middle and picking up the first down is Weldy Moore.
It was so strange watching the game last week where the Pittsburgh Steelers were out there and just sort of having their way with the Cincinnati Bengals running the football. The week before, they really had struggled to run the ball, but then Rashard Mendenhall just took over when the game mattered most, and he's really begun to show something. He's been struggling with a little bit of a shoulder injury lately, and they're trying to reduce his carry, so we're seeing Weldy Moore in a little bit more tonight.
Steelers again go no huddle on first down, and it's floated and incomplete, intended for Emmanuel Sanders.
Number 88, Emmanuel Sanders.
Devin McCourty, a rookie on the rookie Sanders.
Boy, I tell you, they love this Devin McCourty. They said from the first day that he showed up that he just had it. He played like a veteran. He studied like a veteran. They just couldn't believe how polished he was the minute he walked in. He was like one of their old school veterans that they've had on this team forever. They think he is going to be a long-term Pro Bowler on the outside.
2nd and 10 from the 45. And Roethlisberger guns that for Sanders, and that is incomplete. McCourty again on the coverage. 3rd down and 10.
Well, they're trying to pick on that left side of the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but at least so far they've been up to the call. Jonathan Scott, Ramon Foster, those guys over there filling in for Max Starks and Chris Kamawatu have been doing a nice job. They've run probably 3 or 4 different looking blitzes that way, and they've had the answer.
Those 2 guys, there's Kamawatu right there. You get the 2 guys, the 2 new guys that guard and tackle, and the rookie center. And they love him, Pouncey. 3rd and 10. Ben, he's going to go down again, and that's 3 sacks. And that's Tully Banta-Kane.
Sack of the play.
Well, I put the kibosh on him there, Al. As soon as I brought it up, they bring their best pass rusher off the edge, a little spin move, and got right after Ben Roethlisberger. And you've got to wonder if that may get inside the head of Roethlisberger a little bit. You know, you're already questioning that backside, that blind side, and then you get hit on that one.
Sepulveda had to reach for the snap. And takes a nice bounce for New England as it hops into the end zone, and Brady will get the start from the 20-yard line. 12:47 remaining in the first half. 10-0 Patriots. And the pass is caught. Opening drive for New England, next to perfect.
This is Sunday night.
Opening drive, touchdown. They added a field goal. They have the ball now. New England's first 2 drives. 8 plays, 70 yards, and a TD. 10 plays, 46 yards, and a field goal. Brady is 10 out of 12 for 103. To the air on first down off the play fake. And another completion that's caught by Deion Branch for a gain of 9.
Well, if you're a young quarterback, I don't know of anybody that has the mechanics that Tom Brady has. It's almost flawless. Straight over the top. He tucks that left elbow in, rips that left hip around to get the power out of it. The footwork, you can see, really not much of a step at all. He's just able to pivot those hips and get it out, and more often than not, it kind of looks like this. Small windows, doesn't matter. He can get it in there.
Second and a short one. Look at that time off the fake. And then the pass is right there and caught at the 50-yard line by Wes Welker. And into Pittsburgh territory. And almost everything Welker has caught this season has been underneath. The spot of his reception is about 3.5 yards per catch on average. And this time he gets well downfield and picks up the first down on a 26-yard gain.
Yeah, that average just went up, didn't it?
A lot.
And that was great protection that time on the part of this offensive line. The Steelers choosing to go with a 3-man rush there, and Brady said, fine, I'm just going to wait for my guy to get downfield.
Quick toss. Welker. And he fights his way for a first down. When you think about last season, Welker ended his year in Houston on the last day of the season, tearing his ACL and his MCL. And that was one of those things that was so bad at first, you thought it was a career ender. Didn't even miss a game, as it turned out.
And even without Randy Moss, there were a lot of questions. If Randy Moss went away, would Wes Welker's numbers go away? And they were diminished a little bit. Let's just be perfectly frank about that. But they have found a way to continue to be productive.
First and 10. And look at Brady. So calmly, so casually, so coolly, and then has it knocked away in the end zone. Brian McFadden was able to get back there, and Brandon Tate, the speedster, the second-year guy out of North Carolina, who's run a couple of kicks back for touchdowns this season, the intended receiver.
You see this out of the Patriots. When they want to take a shot down the field, they love this fake reverse action because it takes the outside linebacker and shifts them out. The pass rush isn't there, and they'll try to take their shot down the field there. That's their answer now for Randy Moss being gone, trying to get Tate down in behind the secondary.
16 of the 21 plays have been passes, and you got a flag thrown here before the snap. And a little scuffle on the near side in front of the Pittsburgh bench.
False start, number 83, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Welker ending the play.
I tell you, this one's gone pretty much according to script so far for Bill Belichick. I'm sure he wanted to come out here and establish that they could throw the ball, really have had that one good run, but that's basically been it thus far.
Not as if Pittsburgh didn't know it, too. You just look at the history, and we talked about it at the top of the show. A few years ago, Brady threw 29 consecutive passes in a game against Pittsburgh, and in another game earlier in the decade, he threw 25 consecutive passes.
Yeah, Tom Brady, why not?
Second and 15. Fake inside given, and the pass is incomplete. Aaron Hernandez, another rookie tight end out of Florida. I say another because Gronkowski has already scored a touchdown tonight. You've got Algie Crumpler, so they are well stocked at that position. And the guy who caught a touchdown pass in Cleveland last week, incomplete, close to being behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, we got a pretty good mark there with that line, and I do think it went forward barely, so it was not a fumble. Good call by the officials.
Third down and 15 now. Steelers come up to show blitz, and then Brady just steps forward. See if he gets him out of that call. They just rushed 4, and Brady throws, and it's swatted away, incomplete. You had Welker and Hernandez both in the same neighborhood. Fourth down.
Well, we talked about it the last time we did the Steelers, but this Lawrence Timmons has really begun to show he is maybe the best complete linebacker. Watch this coverage here. against Hernandez and just knocks that thing out of there in the last second. His ability to blitz, to play the run, and to get down the field covering these tight ends has made him awfully tough.
Zoltan Mesko, a rookie, played his college ball in Michigan, sends that one that bounces at the 5 and cannot be saved before it gets into the end zone. Pittsburgh will set up at the 20-yard line when we come back. 10.5 to the half. 10-0 New England. That Pittsburgh offense, 18 plays, 18 yards. Roethlisberger has 3 completions. 3 out of 9, and he's also been sacked 3 times. So as many sacks as completions. It's 10-0 as they start this drive from the 20-yard line. Trying to get something going. They start with a swing pass to Mendenhall, and that's a 7-yard gain. Tackled there by Patrick Chung.
And Al, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be able to run the football, and they have not yet, they're in big trouble. This is a slow-footed offensive line. So if you're going to allow the New England Patriots to know you've got to drop back and throw the football, they're not really equipped to do this. They're supposed to run the football, go play action, let Ben Roethlisberger move around a little bit. This game is playing out all the Patriots' way so far.
As the Steelers have since time immemorial. Mendenhall, and he's going to get stopped 2 yards shy of the first down. Rob Ninkovich, outside linebacker, makes the stop.
You know, we're so used to seeing this Patriots defense with so many great players. You know, Richard Seymour and Jarvis Green and Ty Warren on the outside. And now they've got some new defensive ends in there, brand new outside linebackers, a rookie Jermaine Cunningham, Rob Ninkovich over there. So if you're going to get to this Patriots team, you better get to them early, because you've got to believe under Belichick they're going to get better and better as the season goes along.
3rd down 6 from the 24-yard line. Isaac Redmond comes into the game now. In the backfield, he, like Moore, had a concussion last week. Checked out all right this week. Roethlisberger stepping up. He's going to run for it and picks up a first down out to the 37-yard line. Steelers looking for a spark on offense, and that may have been the spark.
Yeah, it really was. And watch Marquise Pouncey here right in the middle. Stay with this stunt. Move his feet. Get him walled off. And then Roethlisberger, as he's done so many times in his career, jump-starting this offense. They needed a play, and he just gave them one.
At the 36 now. Mendenhall, nothing through the middle. Brandon Spikes, rookie out of Florida, drafted in the 2nd round. And you know the Patriots love to stockpile those draft choices.
Look how much space here Vince Wilfork has as the nose tackle. He almost plays like a 3rd linebacker in there. It's very hard to get movement on him. That time you do at the end of the play, but he did his job. His responsibility is the gap on either side of the center. He allowed his linebackers to fill. That's what he has to do.
You do the dirty work.
That's it.
Oh, good move by Mendenhall to slip a tackle, and another good move to turn this into a long game all the way to the 30-yard line. Devin McCourty had him, and then he didn't.
Well, there came a blitz off the corner, and it didn't get there. There was a great block, and I couldn't see who that was on the outside, but the corner basically had contained, and when the block was had on McCourty on the outside, it enabled Mendenhall to do this. What a lateral step that was. Not too bad afterwards either. Good job by Heath Miller down the field, too.
It's 34 yards. For number 34, the ball's at the 29-yard line. Play action. Ben avoids a 4th sack. Throws, and it's caught at the 11-yard line by Heath Miller. And it's everything that Roethlisberger does. He keeps extending the play year after year, and of course the receivers keep moving around and try to get free.
Vintage Ben Roethlisberger here. Ninkovich has him dead. Roethlisberger makes a miss, finds his man Heath Miller, and it's the one thing that Bill Belichick was concerned about, was the ability of these receivers during these scramble drills to find the holes. He and Heinz Ward make play after play down the field. They are just so good at that.
At the 12, Mendenhall to the 8. You know, if there are a couple of things that Roethlisberger really excels at, one is play action. The other is outside the pocket. So that was perfect right there. He doesn't use play action all that much, but when he does, he's tremendous. And there are the numbers out of the pocket.
As you well know, play action only works when you get your running game going. That time they got Mendenhall going, hit a couple runs, and all of a sudden this offense starts to open up. Now they're starting to look like the Steelers again.
Five and a half left in the half. 2nd down and 7. And it's thrown and incomplete. Wallace couldn't hang on to it. Hits the ground in the end zone. Wallace trying to sell the case. Tomlin looking if there's a challenge on the replay. I doubt it.
Here's Mike Wallace, and remember, this is when Heinz Ward is so valuable. He's so good down here making these tough catches. Perfectly thrown football, and Mike Wallace just cannot hang on to it.
Ball coming out, never had control. Merriweather and Arrington on the coverage. 3rd down. 3rd and 7 at the 8-yard line, and Roethlisberger will take a timeout here. 10-0 Patriots in Pittsburgh. Watching Heinz Ward here in the past few minutes, it looks like he's been lobbying to try to get back into the game. They called it a neck injury, no further update. There's Wallace, who now becomes their #1 guy in Ward's absence, who just barely missed a touchdown on the last play. Couldn't control it as it went to the ground in the end zone. So now 3rd down and 7 from the 8 after the Pittsburgh timeout. Patriots are coming. It's a fade, and it's incomplete, and it's a flag. But the flag is all the way on the other side of the field, away from the action at the 9-yard line.
Offside, number 96, defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
The rookie Jermaine Cunningham.
There's Jermaine Cunningham, and you can see his hand right there across that red line, which is the line of scrimmage. Well, that's a tough break for a rookie right there. Can't afford to give the Pittsburgh Steelers too many opportunities on 3rd down.
Half the distance, takes the ball to the 4-yard line. 3rd and 3. Sanders and Randall L. top of the screen. Miller comes in motion. Wallace at the bottom. Roethlisberger buying time. Throws, and it's juggled and incomplete in the end zone for Antoine Randall L. Patrick Chung with the coverage on the play. So Ben sliding to his left, and they'll have to settle for a Reed field goal attempt.
Tell you what, Patrick Chung's having a pretty good game so far here, and Randall L., this is drop number 2. Ben Roethlisberger did his job. Chung may have gotten a little bit of the jersey right there, but the catch was just missed. 2 great opportunities for the Steelers and 2 drops.
22-yard field goal for Jeff Reed. Daniel Sepulveda is the holder. And Pittsburgh gets its first points of the night with 5:08 to go in the half. New England 10, Pittsburgh 3. Pittsburgh, Bill Belichick coaching them up.
He's been coaching that defense hard, hasn't he? So many young players over there, and it's just been, nobody's called it a rebuilding process, but in any other organization, that's exactly what it is. You start 4 rookies, that's rebuilding.
Or retooling.
Yeah.
Sounds less insidious. Reed's kickoff to Tate. And Brandon, of the 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this season, gets pinned along the sideline. after a short run back. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Citizen, fueled by light. It never needs a battery. Unstoppable by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. By DirecTV, if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. And by Sprint, the Now Network. It's alumni weekend for the Steelers here in Pittsburgh, much like in Green Bay. Love bringing the guys back, and the guys love coming back. So Mel Blount before the game, by the way, sends his best to you.
Yeah, he used to give me his best all the time.
Yes, I know he did. From the 23-yard line, that's caught by Danny Woodhead, and Woodhead tries to burrow his way for a first down, but he's a little bit short. Tom Brady has barely been touched tonight.
Not barely.
Hasn't been.
Hasn't been touched yet. And there's the difference. That's really been the difference in the ball game thus far. Of course, Roethlisberger, we all know he can escape and make plays and do all those things, but you have those 0 goose eggs for Tom Brady, you're in trouble, even without Randy Moss.
And the uniform would reflect it. Pristine. Brady. Oh, and then Welker turns around and started to run upfield before he was able to grasp it. Second down.
Yeah, Wes Welker, he remembers one Ryan Clark from a few years back. It was Ryan Clark who almost decapitated him on one. This time Welker just took his eyes off the ball for a moment, and we are seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers working hard on not that hitting with the helmet. They have been dropping shoulders, and if anybody, it's been the Patriots tonight.
Second and 10. And Brady throws that one to the right side, and Welker again makes the catch, this time at the 39-yard line.
And of course our guys in the truck have this one. Got Wes Welker. Remember this one? I don't even have to say a word.
Have your kids grow up to play golf.
Wow.
3rd and 4. Over the 42-yard line goes Danny Woodhead, and he will be a yard or so short of the first down.
Yeah, that's a rare time that I've seen Danny Woodhead do one dance too many. I thought he had a chance to stick that one in there. He is such a physical runner for a little guy. He typically gains that final yard or two that he needs. He tried a little jump cut and got caught.
Anger expressed by Brady after the play. Mesco, the punter. Booming kick. Fielded at the 6-yard line by Emmanuel Sanders. He takes it back out to the 18-yard line. See Brady after the play. Somebody didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Or he wasn't happy with the play call. You end up with a 3rd and 3, and Tom Brady thinks he should be the one making the play, not the running back.
"11 years in the league. You think he's still into it?"
You know what he was telling us last night that I think he's just saying there? You have to be perfect on every play against this team. You make one mistake and you cannot beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
From the 18-yard line on first down. Moeldy Moore. 3-yard game. McCourty making the stop.
I tell you, the one guy that I didn't know that much about, I know a lot about Tom Brady and Wes Welker, but Patrick Chung has really been a physical presence on the field tonight for the Patriots. He's been out a couple of weeks with a knee injury, but just his physical presence on the field is giving them a little Polamalu feel back there.
We had a whole season in that Monday night game at Miami. 2nd down and 6. Flag is thrown. Moore across the 25-yard line. And you got a false start coming up here.
And that was
And
Patrick
down
Chung.
again.
Yeah, coming all the way across the backside there to make that tackle.
Illegal formation offense. Number 72 was not on the line of scrimmage, leaving only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Jonathan Scott.
Yeah, all the way up here, you're going to see Patrick Chung chase this thing down. This is about a 50-yard sprint to get this one from the backside, and that's what we're used to seeing Polamalu do.
And that will take us to the 2-minute warning before they get the play off. It'll be second down and 12 on the other side of the break. 2 minutes to the half with the Patriots up by 7. Second and 12 with the ball at the 16-yard line. Steelers with 2 timeouts remaining. And Ben going deep downfield and incomplete. Randall looking back and losing his balance. Covered by Sergio Brown. It'll be 3rd and 12.
Well, Antoine Randall there, they're going to take a shot. And really, this is not a bad play here, because the one thing you're concerned about now is don't give up an interception. If that ball is thrown out a little bit farther in front, might have had a chance. And on the backside, Ramon Foster made a real saving block on the outside. He saw that safety blitz coming and protected his quarterback. Ben was about to take a huge hit
from Chung. 3rd and 12. 3 receivers bump to the left. Ben gets hit, throws, and that's incomplete for Heath Miller over the middle. Again, Roethlisberger contacted, as he is so often, but still getting the pass away. It's 4th and 12, and the Patriots might wind up with pretty good field position after this punt.
Tolly Bantacane is getting close. He's getting underneath Jonathan Scott, and Ben was just too big to get him down. I tell you, the one thing that the Patriots worked on in practice the other day was sticking with these receivers. They're anticipating that Ben's going to make people miss back there.
Sepulveda his kick. Edelman back to receive it, and he will call for the fair catch and then lets it bounce, and it takes a sideways bounce, and a flag is thrown at the 44-yard line.
And the official with no hat on means that somebody stepped out of bounds and was the first to touch it, is my guess.
Number 23 of the kicking team went out of bounds, came back in bounds, and was the first to touch the kick. That's illegal touching on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty will be assessed at the end of the return. First down, New England.
Exactly. That's Keenan Lewis to move the ball to the 49-yard line. Beautiful shots of downtown Pittsburgh. Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. Now the Patriots with their full complement of timeouts start from the 49-yard line, and Lawrence Timmons makes his presence known to one Daniel Woodhead.
Well, that time Timmons was on the end of the line of scrimmage and then moved back, and I think the Patriots offensive line just missed him. Logan Mankins, who just returned to the team, ran right by him.
2nd and 9. And that's caught by Branch before he steps out of bounds for a first down.
Boy, I tell you what, Tom Brady took a shot on his knee that time from James Harrison. That was a little scary looking inside move, and watch this, right on his knee, and that looked all too familiar for a moment.
Right. Shot he took on opening day in 2008 from Bernard Pollard at that time of the Kansas City Chiefs. 1st and 10. And the 39 as he gets it away, and that's through the hands of Brandon Tate right there. Couldn't collect it. 2nd and 10.
Well, if you want to give a guy a tough assignment, watch Danny Woodhead, about 200 pounds of him, working on the outside against James Harrison. Tough duty.
Yeah, nothing like getting whacked by Timmons and then having to block Harrison.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. And that's caught by Branch, and Branch will step out of bounds. Clock will stop at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, I talked to Dick LeBeau about the no Randy Moss factor, and he said, Chris, I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't a different defensive game plan with that guy out of there. He's one of the best deep threats ever, and you can see this defense shrinking in a little bit.
3rd down and 5 with 61 seconds to the half. Clean pocket again, and that pass is too high and incomplete, and a little bit behind Walker, who is covered on the play. Troy Polamalu that time came in on the blitz.
Yeah, man coverage underneath, but then Polamalu just anticipates it. He sees Brady looking this way. He really just is going to jump that route. And if the ball had been thrown a little bit better, you never know. Polamalu might have had that one.
And then he was blitzing Walker. Belichick just called a timeout before a 4th down and 6 with the ball at the 33-yard line. So if you want to kick a field goal here, you're talking about Graham just joined the team, about 52 yards.
Yeah, that's a big trust factor, wouldn't you say, right there? We watched Shane kicking in practice the other day, and if he hit it pure, he could definitely make this kick. He does tend to miss a little bit. He has a push shot and he has a pull shot, but when he hits the ball on the button, it goes straight down the middle, and he could make it from here, but you'd also be leaving a lot of room for the Steelers to go the other way.
Gonna line up to go for it. And Brady will fire over the middle, and that's caught, but the flag is thrown as Gronkowski, who scored the only touchdown in the game, makes the catch.
Pass interference, number 87, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
But he's able to get free because he pushed off.
Yeah, working against Timmons down the field, and Gronkowski, you'll see the arms extend here on the end of this play. Just not going to be allowed to do that. Remember, there is an official watching every single eligible receiver out there, and in this league, you don't get away with that one.
And now they'll punt with 49 seconds. Zoltan Mesko came to this country from Romania when he was 11 years old, played his college ball in Michigan, and was drafted in the 5th round by the Patriots last spring. Fair caught at the 14-yard line by Randall with 42 seconds remaining and 2 timeouts for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting decision here to make now. Do you crank up your offense and try and do something with it from your own 14, or are you okay going in down 10-3? I'll tell you, the only issue that you probably have at this point is, do you trust this offensive line enough to drop back and throw the ball?
And you're doing it without Heinz Ward, who suffered what the Steelers are saying was a neck injury on a helmet-to-helmet hit in the first quarter, and has not been back to the game since.
Screen draw, usually the call to open a series like this.
Roethlisberger's going to go straight back and then flip it over the middle underneath. It's caught by Mewelde Moore. He gets it up to the 27-yard line, and Ben getting up there.
First down.
Now, Ben was going to spike it to kill the clock, but Mike Tomlin said, no.
30-second timeout.
Costing us too much time. We're going to take a timeout right there. Well, for Ben Roethlisberger, it has been a night like he's experienced before. He has been under pressure pretty much throughout the course of the entire game. They do such a great job with him of allowing him to move around. His pump fakes, he can escape. But tonight, the New England Patriots doing nothing fancy when they get to him. They're not trying to strip the ball. They're wrapping him up and getting him on the ground. And that's the mistake a lot of teams make against Roethlisberger.
His number 6 and a 16 for 61 yards. 1 timeout left for Pittsburgh. Four-man rush. Buying time. Nobody's there, and he has to throw it into the bench. 2nd down with 20 seconds remaining.
coverage by Brown.
Yep. Mike Wright's really had a pretty good game so far. That time he's working against a star young center right there, Marquise Pouncey. And his speed and quickness, he is the leading sacker on this Patriots team with 4 sacks. That time they trusted Pouncey enough to just handle him one-on-one, but just the pressure straight back into Roethlisberger forced him out of the pocket.
2nd and 10. Ben dumps it for Moore. Again underneath. And Moore staying on his feet. Moore gets free down the sideline and goes out of bounds. That's all well and good, but it took a lot of time off the clock, and they're down to 8 seconds.
Well, Jonathan Scott may have gotten away with a hold on that one on the backside against Tully Bantakane, but didn't see it. Here's Jonathan Scott. See at the tail end of this play if he doesn't do a little yank down on that one. No call.
The Pittsburgh still has a timeout, so they can use the middle of the field and call a very fast timeout as they try to work into field goal range.
Second charge timeout, New England.
And the Patriots take a timeout here.
Well, for Jeff Reed, he's been awfully good inside of 40 yards this year, but it's been 40 and beyond that has been his struggle. He did have a 53-yarder, I believe it was 53 yards last week against the Bengals, but also missed one in that same range that could have clinched the game at the end and gave the Cincinnati Bengals one final shot down the field.
And a break tonight in a place which is notoriously tough for field goal kickers, with a softer field and the wind normally coming in from the open end of the stadium off the Ohio River. Just the breeze tonight, and the field in good shape.
Reed just 2 for 8 from 40 plus, 12 for 12 inside of 40 yards.
So on first down, one play before a possible field goal attempt. Once 3 receivers to the right. Roethlisberger stepping up. This is taking a lot of time, and it's incomplete, and it takes 7 of the 8 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at his choice there. They had some opportunities just to get something right in the middle of the field that you talked about. Call the timeout. The Patriots were way back. I mean, they were in total prevent there. There was an opening right in the middle of the field, but Ben just unable to find him on the backside. Now everybody's going to be standing back around the end zone. But there was a big gap in there.
30-second timeout.
And now Pittsburgh will take its final timeout. So now they can do anything. But you're right. I mean, in a situation you have 8 seconds, you know, maybe you just throw it over the middle. The guy gives himself up. You take the timeout at that point. And then you send Reed into the game. Now it's Hail Mary time.
Well, and we give Ben a lot of credit for his ability to scramble and make plays, but that was a time for an on-time throw. You know, you want to be Joe Montana there. Drop back, 5 steps, boom, get it in there, have your receiver get to the ground and call a timeout, and I think they'd have had a field goal.
Or a decent shot at one. Instead, one play, barring a defensive foul from the 45-yard line.
Well, and not a lot of really tall receivers on this Steelers football team, so you're going to see a tall one in the back. Aaron Hernandez, a tight end, is going to take his shot.
The 21-year-old rookie out of Florida. 3-man rush, 8 covering. Ben's going to launch one into the end zone with a lot of traffic down there, and it's incomplete. And Hernandez gets into the middle of the action. So a very good defensive first half for New England. They lead by a score of 10-3 at the half. So we got a halftime show coming up next after these messages from your local NBC station.